everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Abby and today it's finally time for the much requested, highly anticipated bookshelf tour. I have had people requesting this video in my comment section for as long as I can remember, and I've always been a bit scared to do it, but today I finally feel that I'm ready to share this with you. One of the questions I get asked a lot is where I got my bookshelves from, and we didn't actually buy them. My dad actually made them from wall brackets and Conti board. What we did was just measure the height and width of this wall and then went and bought the supplies, and then my dad just chopped the boards to fit perfectly, and huzzah! I had a bookshelf. The thing I will say, just as another kind of disclaimer I guess, is I have been collecting books since I was about 12 years old. So that's 10 years worth of collecting, probably a bit over that. And when I was younger, I would always ask for books for Christmas, for my birthday. Any little bit of pocket money I'd get, I'd save it up and I'd spend it on books, because that is how I chose to and how I love to spend my money. And then as I got older, when I got a job, I'd buy books. So if you're watching this and thinking, God, she has a lot of books, I don't have that many, please don't feel that way. There was once a time where I was thinking exactly the same thing, but I was lucky enough to just dedicate years to collecting and to just hoarding books, I suppose. You don't have to have massive shelves to be considered a reader. You don't have to have lots of physical books to be considered a reader. You don't even have to read physical books to be considered a reader. If you read, you're a reader. Whether that's ebooks, audiobooks, library books, physical books, anything. Doesn't matter. That being said, I am going to try and take you on a tour of my bookshelf and also my book cart, which is a new addition actually. I was gifted this at Christmas time, and at the minute I'm just using it as a bit of extra storage for books that won't fit on my shelf, books that I've been gifted, and books I've bought that just have no place to go. I also do have a few books back at my uni house, so if you want me to do a bookshelf tour when I get back there, it won't be as exciting, but it might be a bit interesting. Something I also should mention before we get into this is that I have absolutely no rhyme or reason to the way I've organised my bookshelves. I never have. I just tend to group them with author, and that's about it. There is kind of no other consistent theme. I know a lot of people have like alphabetical or colour coded or genre coded. Not me. I find that when I do very occasionally decide to change up my shelves, I will just take them all off and then put them all back on in a place that I feel looks the prettiest. The next coming days I am also planning a readathon, so I've taken these books off the shelf, or they were never on the shelf but I just got them. I probably will just start by going through these because I am very excited about every single one in this pile. 2021 bookshelf tour, let's go. So as I said, I will just briefly go through these. They're very heavy, so excuse my voice. So the book I'll definitely be starting first in the readathon is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, the sequel to King of Scars. I have Daughters of Narai, My Dark Vanessa, Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, All the Tides and Fate by Adeline Grace, which is a sequel to All the Stars and Teeth, It's Not About the Burqa, and then Ariadne, which is actually an advanced reader's copy that I requested and was lucky enough to receive. Okay, now moving on to the main event. I'll just briefly show you the aesthetic next to the shelves. So I've got 3 Vincent van Gogh paintings and then just some Polaroids. A like 3D print thing I really like, so I just got it because it reminded me of like fantasy books. And then my sister and her boyfriend actually made me a calendar of my cat, who I love more than life itself. So that takes pride of place next to my shelves. I had to wheel my chair over to stand on because I just can't reach otherwise. So we're at the top shelf. Usually, I won't lie, this is covered by all my fluffy toys, but I've taken them down for purpose of the video. They will be going straight back up, don't worry, I haven't made them without a home. But yeah, this has always been my least favourite shelf, only because you can't really see it. So I tend to just put like series up here that don't really go with the rest of the shelf, or just oddly sized books like these. Okay, so starting right at the corner, I have my Lauren Oliver collection. As you can see, the Delirium Trilogy, I got it in hardback in a charity shop for some reason. I thought it looked cool. I was a big fan of Delirium when I was younger, but I couldn't tell you anything that happens in them now. And then I've just got her, I think it's a duology, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Replica and Ringer, that I've never actually read. I feel quite bad about it because the covers are stunning. So that's Replica and Ringer. See, very pretty. Then I have The Bone Season, When to Kill, Birthed, and Fallen Kingdoms. I know The Bone Season is really popular. I think I gave it a shot like maybe a few years ago, but I wasn't really gelling with it, so I just stopped. But Booktop does love Samantha Shannon's books. I think she also did The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is very popular, so I might have to give it another go. These two I actually received from a book box prescription that my friends bought me for my birthday. They have really nice covers, I just haven't read them yet. So Enclave was actually recommended to me on BookTube years ago, and I just bought it. I haven't got around to reading it, but it does look quite funky actually. I then had The Testing, which is also highly recommended, The Raven Boys, and The Rosie Project. None of them I've read, probably why I've put them up here. Move on to my brief Twilight collection. I think the reason I put them up here is because I don't have the full set of books, and also this copy of The Host, the spine is absolutely murdered, so... Midnight Sun was a bit of a disappointment for me, I won't lie to you, but, you know, I have put it outward facing just because. I then have my Outlander collection, and I recently finished catching up with the TV show, and I'm once again obsessed, so I'm thinking I might have to start reading the books. Honestly, I think I got to Voyager before. Yep, there we go, there's my bookmark that's been in there for about 5 years. Just never got around to opening that again, so maybe one day. Culloden. Then I also found this book of Culloden in the works for really cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up, you know, for an added history lesson for one of my favourite series at the time, but no surprises, I didn't actually get around to reading it yet. I then have 2 of the Witcher books, Fahrenheit 451, which I'm actually studying this year in university, so that was very handy to have a copy already. I have Room, haven't read it, I did watch the film, did like the film, but now I'm like, do I need to read the book? I know that's an awful thing to say, but, you know. Same with One Day. I recently watched the film. I was heartbroken. I was sobbing. And now I'm like, can I handle the book? Probably not. So that's why it's up here. This is my only Micah Morpurgo book that I have. So Warhorse. But it's a good one to choose if you have to choose one. Next I have these Broken Stars, which again was recommended to me on like 2014 BookTube. I love the cover. I just never got around to reading it. But I've always said to myself, you will read this one day. I suppose we'll see. I then have the Beautiful Creatures series. I have actually read all of these books, but like the same with Delirium, I could not tell you anything that happens. I remember I used to love the film though, for the first one, even though it was not accurate at all. Then have the full Shakespeare collection. You know, every English literature student should have one, so I do. I think my nan picked these up for me in a charity shop. They're really pretty though. It's just good to have all of Will's work, I suppose. If anyone cares, my favourite Shakespeare play is King Lear. Moving on to the end, I've got Wither and Fever by Lauren Di Stefano. And then Poison Study, Magic Study by Marie V. Schneider. And then Stormglass and Touch of Power by the same author. An Invitation to a Beheading, which I think was for uni. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyack, Graceling, and then Poldark. I've read none of these. Oh no, I have actually read The Unbecoming of Mara Dyack, but I just don't have the sequel for some reason. But yeah, that is the top shelf of my bookshelf. The second shelf is slightly more cluttered just because of like the bunting and the fairy lights and then this cute little plaque here. So starting at the end, I've got my Lord of the Rings collection. I got them all from charity shops and I was absolutely buzzing when I got these because these are the covers I really wanted and I found them all for about £4, so I was like, of course I'm going to buy them. And then I've got this cute little scented candle. Always need a candle for your bookshelves. I then got my 2 Laura Jarrett books, By Any Other Name and Skin Deep, which I remember reading at the time and I loved them at the time. I then have the Altered Carbon trilogy because I saw the series on Netflix and I was obsessed with it, and then I thought I'm going to have to read the books, but I haven't yet got around to reading them, but they do sound really interesting, so hopefully one day. Then moving on to the first series, I actually remember breaking my heart, so Divergent, obviously. It kind of annoys me that Allegiance in hardback, but I didn't love it enough. I didn't love it at all, so I'm not going to buy it in paperback because I just absolutely refuse. I then got Veronica's Roth other book, Carve the Mark, which I just never got around to reading, probably because I was so distraught by Allegiant and couldn't handle her anymore. I then got the first volume of Heartstopper, which everybody seems to love, so I'm going to need to get on that real soon. And I've got The Disappearances by Emily Bay Murphy, which I would actually really recommend. I'm not really into mystery books, but this was the first YA book I read, like mystery, and it was actually really enjoyable, so yeah. And then of course Extraordinary Means and Severed Heads and Broken Hearts. And let me tell you, this book, I'm sorry, but it does deserve more hype than The Fault in Our Stars. Like, I was in bits reading that. One of my all-time favourites. If you follow me on TikTok, I have recommended that multiple times. I then always group these together for some reason. They're just really pretty covers and I love the colours together. Ink and the Hawkweed? Yeah, the Hawkweed Legacy. Never read those two, but like I said, I think they're beautiful, so I always put them together. Then we move on to my Game of Thrones collection, and here I've got Gendry and Jaime Lannister. I think I have all the books, because he's still obviously writing the last 2, but I've only actually read the first one and then half of the second one. It's a bit like Outlander, really. I do want to read them, it's just such a commitment that I need to be I need to be completely there before I attempt it again. So this really cute library sign that my parents got me one Christmas. Next I have Crave by Tracy Wolfe, which is supposed to be really entertaining. My Life Next Door, Dune, and Ember in the Ashes. I knew I had that book. Sorry. But yeah, I'm definitely going to start this one very soon because Book Talk is obsessed with the series, and yeah, one of my closest friends just read it and she loved it. So I will be reading that very soon. Now I know where she is on the shelf. I then have 2 of Mallory Blackman's books, Pick Heart Boy and Noughts or Crosses. Love them both. Queenie by Candy Curtis-Williams, which was one of my favourite reads of last year. I absolutely love that book. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I then have Scythe, A Darker Shade of Magic, and This Savage Song. I was kind of put off starting this one because apparently the second one wasn't very good, but I suppose I have to make my own decisions. And then 2 V.E. Schwab books, and I read The Visible Life of Addie LaRue, which is my first V.E. Schwab, and I was kind of underwhelmed. So now I'm a bit apprehensive about starting these 2, but if you think they're better or like think I should definitely give them a try, do let me know, because I had them for a while and I did really want to read them. I then have on display The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. I think it's mainly because of the cover was just so stunning, but the story, I did love it. I rated it 5 stars. I thought it was brilliant. A really short YA fantasy, just a standalone, and I thought that was really refreshing, so I love that. Then just a little cute rock that says happy on it because we should all be happy. The first 2 books in the Children of Blood and Bone trilogy. I think it's going to be a trilogy, and I really want to start these soon. There's so many books I want to start, but these definitely, but maybe I would wait for the 3rd book to come out now. I don't know. Then I have A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, which the cover, stunning. Serpent and Dove, which again I probably won't read because I've heard a lot of negative things about it. I then have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I bought secondhand, and the Carnival trilogy, which I was a bit underwhelmed with. It was fun, it was enjoyable, but I did end up only rating it 3 stars, but I like the spines, they're very fun. That's the second shelf done. Okay, shelf number 3, which is, I think, my favourite. Okay, so at the start is like cute little cat facts my friend made me for my birthday, which I love. I haven't actually opened all of them yet because I don't want them to end, but I love it. I then have a cute little rock with a cat on it. If you haven't noticed, I love cats. Then I also have a little figure, which I got when I was travelling to Vietnam in 2018. So in the corner I have one of the first trilogies I remember reading and like loving. And I think it's the Furies trilogy by Elizabeth Miles, and it's those 3 books. They're all different, which is very uncomfortable. But yeah, I remember at the time like reading it and loving it. Leigh Bardugo collection, obviously minus Rule of Wars because I'm currently going to read that. So I have her first adult book she released last year, I believe, and then Shadow and Bone trilogy, 6 of Crows duology, and then King of Scars and Rule of Wars will go here somewhere. And I didn't actually realise until I saw a TikTok the other day, but apparently this is a really rare first copy of Shadow and Bone. And it's really cool, it's really pretty. I've always had it on my shelf just thinking it was another one of her books. But no, it is the first book. It is Shadow and Bone. I then have the Furyborn books in Pride of Place, my favourite fantasy trilogy. You may be wondering why I don't have Kingsbane, the second book, but it is at university. I have so much love for this series. If you haven't read it, please read it. I'm obsessed with it, I love it. Didn't want it to end. Still very much attached. Moving on, I then have the Fifth Wave books. I don't have the last one because I was so disappointed with the second. I was obsessed with the first, which is why I have 2 copies. Loved it. Was then so disappointed by the second. I also have a little Nando's table thing I stole. I mean, I feel like if you're British and you like Nando's, you probably have one of those as well. Also like a chalice goblet thing that I got from Warwick Castle on my 18th birthday. Grave Mercy, Whites for Witching, Before I Die, which I didn't finish because I knew it was going to hurt me. Yep. The Diabolic, which the cover is gorgeous. I don't know why I've not read that. Illuminate, Dear Martin, love that book. 3 Rainbow Rowell books, which I bought years and years ago. My 2 Walking Dead pops, I got Rosita and Daryl, my 2 faves. I have the 13 Reasons Why book, which I read back in probably about 2014, maybe. The Names I Gave Us by Emery Lord. Where Rainbows End by Cecilia Ahern, which is actually Love Rosie. And I love this book so much. It's so unique. It's all like in epistolary form. Loved it. And then I also have her other book, Flawed, which is a duology, and I really want to start that actually because it sounds really, really interesting. Discovery of Witches, All the Light We Cannot See, which I've heard amazing things about, but also really, apparently it's really sad, so I'm kind of like, can I manage it? Girls of Paper and Fire, Ace of Shades and King of Fools. I think it's going to be a trilogy, but maybe again I'll wait for the next book before I start that. Moving on to my favourite area of this shelf, my Greek mythology retelling. I do actually have more Greek mythology books, but they are all at uni, unfortunately, but this is where they will go when they come home. As you can see, I have 2 copies of Circe. I actually have 3 of the Song of Achilles, but like I said, one's at uni and one's on the trolley. But let me show you this, because this is just the most stunning copy of a book I've ever seen. Circe. And the writing's just as stunning. Please read this. Oh, it's hard with my hand. There's a map. And then wait for this, wait for this. That is the hard copy. Wow. Now you see why I had to buy 2 copies. Circe paperback, Song of Achilles, my favourite book, I love you. The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker, which is also really amazing, I would recommend. The Penelopead by Margaret Atwood, a cute little Vincent van Gogh painting. If you haven't noticed already, I do really like Vincent van Gogh. And then my Percy Jackson and the Olympians hardback collection, which I got when I was a lot younger and still love them. And then here I've got some rings that my dad's actually made me, and I keep them here because this is a Greek drachma, so I thought, you know, Greek mythology. Then my Heroes of Olympus collection. But I still have yet to collect this one in hardback, and, you know, maybe it's too late now. But yeah, and then a little trophy I won at a fancy dress competition. So yeah, that's shelf number 3. Now, shelf number 4 is pretty much just for my big collections. So I'm afraid it's not that exciting. But yeah, look. Really cool. Another Vincent van Gogh item. Got that in Amsterdam. Very cool. This is my Harry Potter collection from when I was really young. My grandparents actually used to take me to all the charity shops searching until I had the full collection of books. And actually some of them are like first edition. And I will forever be grateful for that experience and those memories. I was like trawling through the shops, searching until I had my complete collection. And then also recently I was gifted these copies of Harry Potter, the American ones. I'd wanted them for years and years and years, and then my boyfriend surprised me with them for my 21st birthday. And I was over the moon. They're absolutely gorgeous. Love them. Here I just have some like trinkets from the film, if you will. Passport from the studio tours. And then perhaps my favourite thing on my shelves of all time is the 3 wands my granddad has actually made me. He's made them for me. Okay, I'll show you. He made me the Elder Wand. You know, the Elder Wand. They're all exactly to size as well. Like, I asked him to make me them, he looks at the measurements, and then he crafts them, and they're just absolutely fantastic, and I love them so much. I will keep them for the rest of my life. Just amazing. And it's probably my favourite. It's Hermione's. And then last but not least is Ginny, who has got a really cool wand, actually. So yeah. If you haven't noticed already, I'm obsessed with pop figures, and yeah, these are my Harry Potter ones. My favourite one, obviously, Hermione in her Yule Ball dress. Random badge from Wookiee Ho on the shelf for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, book-wise, we have Snow Like Ashes, The Book Thief, which I remember reading in a day, and I'm looking at, like, how on earth did I manage that? But yeah, it destroyed me. Cinderella is Dead by Kaale Bayron. Love that book. Really, really excited for her next one. And then A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which also I haven't read yet, but I have heard amazing things about it. And then just to finish off the shelf, I have my entire Sarah J Maas collection. I used to get a lot of questions about this painting, and it was actually given to me for my birthday from one of my closest friends who knew I loved the quote at the time. So yeah, very cute. And then just my little Polaroid camera at the end there. So yeah, this is my 4th shelf, basically the collection shelf. This shelf kind of has the same vibe, like collection-wise, but it does kind of have a bit more variety to it as well. So as you can see, this is the shelf area dedicated to my entire Shadowhunters collection. Peter Thanos. Also this random clock that hasn't been working for about 3 years, but I keep anyway, just because I'm used to it there. So there's one copy of the Bane Chronicles, which I admit is like the only part of Cassandra's work that I haven't actually read. And then we move on to my favourite books. Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron, my absolute favourites, the Last Hour series. And of course I had to have this one on this full display because it's just so stunning, and yeah, I'm obsessed. And the Infernal Devices obviously next to it with the little clockwork angel thingy, little pendant. Then of course the Mortal Instruments series and a random crown tiara thing that I wore to prom. Don't know what, ask me why it's kept there. Have no idea, to be honest. And just to finish off, the Dark Artificer series, just at the end there. This shelf is also home to the entire Guardians of the Galaxy, which I love. Then have the Selection series, which I read absolutely centuries ago, and The Air, which I haven't actually got around to reading. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. The Name of the Wind, The Gilded Wolves, The next book in the series is actually at my uni accommodation. Conversations with Friends and Normal People by Sally Rooney. Love them both. Then in this next little bit of collection, The Flat Share, Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, Sweet Sorrows, Red, White and Royal Blue, and The Art of Being Normal. And then on full display is We Hunt the Flame, which again, I've not actually read, but I'm actually obsessed with this cover, so I just had to have it on full display, and I will read it, I promise, very, very soon. And then next to it I have Branded, which is a really cool cover actually. I always thought that was really cool. Choker, which was one of the creepiest books I've ever read, but also very good. Stolen, which again, a very creepy book. Jane Austen's Emma. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe, which, yeah, I love this book. Whizzed through that in about a day. Absolutely amazing, yes. The Versions of Us, which again I found in a charity shop. And then I just have my Patrick Ness collection, which this series, Chaos Walking series, perfection. I wish everybody would read that. And then this book, More Than This, also a very creepy book. So yeah, maybe this is just a creepy shelf, I don't really know. And I also have a little Buddha figure, which I got when I was on my gap year in Thailand. So yeah, shelf number 5 of my bookshelf. Shelf 6, I'm basically at the bottom now, so I am having to sit on the floor. But yes, here's a quick sweep of the shelf. Right in the corner we have All the Words Unspoken, which was sent to me by the author, who is actually just so lovely, and the cover is stunning. And Toffee by Sarah Crossan, Heavenfall by Sarah Holland, and then I have my really mismatched collection of the Lunar Chronicles, and I actually stopped like halfway through this book because I just wasn't feeling it. And everyone says get to Cress, but I don't think I can. Like, it wasn't bad, it just wasn't for me. And off on the shelf I've got my pop figures, Spider-Man, 4 and Hulk. I then have Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I actually loved. I remember Book Talk was obsessed with this and I jumped on the hype and I was not disappointed. I then have The Lovely Bones, which traumatised me. Gravity of Us, which is a really, really cute story. 5 Feet Apart, which again destroyed me. Everything, Everything, and The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. 2 Jandy Nelson books, I'll Give You the Sun and The Sky is Everywhere. But it's kind of a funny story, which is a weird size, but it's a really cool colour and it's a really cool cover, so I'll let it off. 2 Puffin in Bloom hardback books. So I have Little Woman, which is absolutely humongous, but the cover is so cute, and Anne of the Green Gables, which also really, really cute. Then I've got the Truly Devious series. No surprises here, I haven't got around to reading it yet, but heard nothing but great things. And really cool funky covers and colours on this series. I then have hardback copy of House of Salt and Sorrows, and then on full display Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, just because it's stunning. And next to it I have Sorcery of Thorns, which was actually very disappointing in my own personal opinion. Same with this, same with the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, I read it, it was fun, but very disappointing. I was expecting a lot more, and I would rather had a Haymitch prequel than a President Snake one, but that's just me. My Hunger Games books, and Mockingjay is looking a bit worse for wear because I took it to school one day and it rained and then it got absolutely soaked and ruined. But my prized possessions, along with 2 little pins from the movies, which, believe it or not, I actually used to wear out, so yeah. I then just have another really random collection of books here, and then a figure of the Statue of Liberty, which I got in New York. I'm not too sure what Great Expectations by Charles Dickens is doing in this area, but let's go with it. And then The Last Time We Say Goodbye, Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, Memoirs of a Geisha, Shift by M. Bailey, which is really, really creepy as well. That is a strange but really good book. Then What Red Was, The Binding, We All Looked Up, Paper Princess, which is the first book in the Royal series. I've had a lot of controversial opinions on this book, so. I then have The Programme, which I remember reading and being a bit disappointed by it, so I never continued with that series. The Darkest Minds book, which is a really cool, like, floppy paperback, but I watched the film, I don't know why, but I've never read the series, even though it was so big, like in like 2014, so probably like should get around to that maybe one day, not sure. Oh, and then the little troll figure from Norway that my boyfriend picked up for me on a cruise. Unfortunately his flag is chipped though, sorry mate. I have The Beautiful and the Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier, and I cannot wait to start these, but I need to get the hardback one of The Rose and the Dagger before I start it, because I just need to. I can't say why, I just need to have it done. And then All the Bright Places and Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Neven, which both were really, 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 really sad. I then have my Mary Lou books, Legend Trilogy and The Young Elites, but the other 2 books of The Young Elites are actually at uni along with all her other books, so That's a bit sad. I will show you them if I ever do a university bookshelf tour though. Love Mary Lou, she is amazing. Read her books. Then just to finish off the shelf, I have my Cruel Prince collection, another series which I shamelessly love. So yeah, but this wasn't needed, I will say. Fun, but not necessary. Also just a really little cute library candle that my friend bought me. So yeah, that is shelf number 6. We have finally reached the last shelf. In the corner I have this pillow my best friend made me of a song that I wrote about my cat with my cat and a guitar. And shamelessly hidden away in the corner is my Vampire Academy series, just because every single cover is completely mismatched and secondhand and horrible to look at. So that's why they stay behind the cover. But I do love this series with my entire heart, so I have to have it on the bookshelf. Shamefully have not read the Bloodline series yet, but have the first book, so maybe a reread is in order. I then have Typh, Valiant and Ironside by Holly Black, and it pains me that they're away from her other books, but like the spines are too obnoxious to be like on complete display. The covers are lovely, but the spines, like, what is with bright spines? I'm not vibing with that. I have Tape, One of Us is Lying with sprayed edges, very cool. Girlhood, Looking for JJ, Blood Tithe by Sophie Mackenzie, which I was such a fan of this book back in school. And also Blood Ransom, I just apparently don't have that on my shelf. We Were Liars, which in my opinion is one of the most overrated books ever. Then this book, Vivian versus the Apocalypse, which is completely random, never even heard of it, I'm not too sure where I got that one from. Red Rising, which again I've heard amazing things about, really want to get started in that series. Half Bad by Sally Green, which I read in Paris and just wasn't vibing with it that much. Like, everyone was saying how amazing it was and I just didn't share that sentiment. I then had Tests of the D'Urbervilles by Tom Hardy, which honestly is one of the most depressing and saddest books I've ever read, but also a very good read. I then have Nightwood, which was actually for university. A very mixed match collection of books on the shelf, I must say. I have Shiver, Dorothy Must Die, The Winner's Curse, which is a really cool cover. Obsidian, Lux series. I remember reading this actually, and I don't know why I didn't continue because I did really like it. But yeah, I think there's like quite a few books, so maybe that'd be why. Rebel Bell, Teardrop, books from the Killing Eve series, which apparently is awful and you should just stick to watching the TV show, but you know, be your own judge, I suppose. I then have The Strange the Dreamer duology, which I love. I love these two books. They're so good. Can't recommend them enough. I then have the entire Shatter Me series, and for some reason, don't ask me why, I've got Stalking Jack the Ripper like balancing on top. We move. As for the Shatter Me series, I'd say these 3 probably worth reading. These 3 absolutely not needed. Only my opinion though. I wasn't like a massive lover of the series. I did really enjoy the first 3 books though, so take with that what you will. I then have the Maze Runner trilogy, a copy of Jane Eyre that's really old and worn, but you know, Jane Eyre is my favourite classic, so. Then have 3 Dark Crowns, The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, and My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. I don't really see myself reading either of these 2 books in the future, but you never know. Then have Under the Nether Sky and Through the Evernight. I've had these for a while. I think I found them both for pretty cheap, maybe like £2 each or something, so I thought had to get them. Then have Night Owls, Pride and Prejudice, and Dracula, which was 50p in a charity shop, and it looks pretty much brand new. On to the final bit of my shelves, we had If I Stay, The Road, which is a really creepy book, very disturbing book actually. Then my John Green books, who I'm not actually a fan of, so I don't really know why I have his books. We've got Looking for Alaska, Paper Towns, and The Fault in Our Stars. And then I have this book, which I think I also found in a charity shop. I think it's got like a postcard in or something. Yeah, it came with this postcard from Mobile Zoo, so that was a bonus. If you can't tell, I am a huge fan of charity shops. To end off like the YA contemporaries, I have Me and Earl and The Dying Girl. And then right at the very end of my shelves with my little kickstand there, I have the Red Queen series. I remember like absolutely loving the first book, like thought it was amazing, and then slowly like my interest in the series just went downwards. Left a bit underwhelmed by the series, I'm afraid, but yeah, I mean, give it a go. I would give it a go. Like, it was fun. It was a cool story. It was like a fun dystopian world. I'd say the first one is absolutely, without question, the best book in the series. So yeah, that is the final bottom shelf of my bookshelf. So I am actually exhausted after that. I didn't realise it was going to take that much energy or that much out of me to film what's on my bookshelves. It has. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching this. As I said, it was so requested, so I just hope that I've lived up to a lot of your expectations. Yeah, I hope to be doing a readathon in the next few days. I'm not sure when, but if you want to see that, let me know, and let me know if you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please comment below. It will help my channel out so much, and it will mean so much to me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!